Hello Internet, what's going on? I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. Welcome to the second season review of RWBY. Last time we started off with a pretty decent episode that, well, while it didn't really have much of a story, it was still enjoyable to watch.
In some ways more than others.
Like I said, there wasn't much development in regards to the story, and I know that's something that you'd expect with the first episode of the season, but certain important things are still left in the dark for us. We saw the villains kill a dude, have a dick measuring contest, spoiler alert, Cinder 1, don't think about that too much, and move their plan onto stage 2, but we still have no idea what that plan may be.
However, that's small potatoes because, like I said, that episode was still pretty good, and it did do some things differently than how the first season started. Most prominently, we got an epic fight right off the bat.
Yeah, isn't it the one that you complained about because it didn't respect your make-believe rules of the universe you call physics?
With just one more day till school is to start, the two teams of RWBY and Juniper decide to have a food fight between each other, in the same manner that World War I was just a small conflict. We get a lot of cool shots, are shown that the animators at Rooster Teeth have gotten much better at doing their jobs, and most importantly, it is a wonderful way to remind us that these are still just kids.
But that was about as much as we got from the first episode, so let's see what happens next and start the second. Lakana, roll the clip.
Great. We're gonna have to go through this again, aren't we? Yep. Skip. Say the magic word, bitch.
Please.
We've returned to Beacon Academy, which is currently being invaded by an army. Turns out that the headmaster of Atlas and the general of that kingdom's army has arrived early for the tournament.
Ozpin. Hello, General. It's been too long. And Glinda. It has certainly been too long since we last met.
Yeah, I can understand why you don't see her that often. I have a feeling that she has a tendency to get around and has many other, appointments.
I'd love to make an appointment with her, though I think we may need to establish some sort of safe word.
Glinda then takes her leave, perhaps to one of those appointments, leaving Ironwood and Ozpin alone. The two then exchange the usual pleasantries. Have you been? What brings you here? Would you like some coffee? What's with the Armada of Death? Ironwood explains that he's just being cautious, especially with the tournament so close in hand. But Ozpin says that people might get the wrong impression with such a show of force.
I'm just being cautious.
Only for Ironwood to insist that a show of power is what the world needs to know that it's safe and secure.
But ask yourself this. Do you honestly believe your children can win a war?
I hope they never have to.
Foreshadowing.
We then cut to the library where Team RWBY is engaging each other in a card game.
Ying Xiaolong, prepare your kingdom for battle. Bring it on.
A cringy card game. On the other table, we see Team Juniper using the library for its intended purposes. Reading, sleeping, and of course sleeping in references that were doomed to fail. Once again, another sign that Pierre loves controlling John.
You're already in deep shit with the Pyrrha fans for what you did to her last year. Do you really want to piss them off even more?
Hey, it's not my fault that Monty, Miles, and Carrie Cameron had a good character for her.
I thought I told you not to blaspheme his name!
It was a joke! Jeez!
Well, Weiss, it's your turn.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
You and me both, Weiss. Either way, while these two talk about the stupid rules for this stupid game, I'd like to mention that Rooster Teeth missed a golden opportunity here. I mean, if you guys had done some research, hired some people who actually knew what the hell they were doing, and had put some effort into it, you could have made this game a real thing that might have been fun to play, even for those who didn't really know about RWBY, instead of giving us whatever combat ready was supposed to be.
And that means you're just 3 moves away from conquering Remnant.
Also, Weiss is evil, Yang is awesome, and stop feeding the shippers! This world's full of enough perverts already!
You're just mad because this scene confirms the White Rose.
All right, Blake, you're up.
Huh?
Blake appears to be on the same page as me, as she has no idea what's going on. But before she can do anything, Jean walks over asking if he could play.
Come on, let me play your hand for a turn.
I'm not trusting you with the good citizens of Vacuo.
Why not? You've trusted me with way more important stuff before. I mean, you told us all that Blake is secretly a
fun-loving person.
Is there a reason why Blake being a faunus needs to be a secret?
I mean, we know that back in Volume 1, it was because she was once part of the White Fang. But cat's out of the bag now! No pun intended. And again, why would it be a problem for their friends to know?
Ladies, enjoy your battle.
What's up, losers? Hi, Michael. Again, glad to hear your voice, even though it's not cussing.
Hey, son.
Ruby, Yang, Blake, Ice Queen. I never got a chance to formally introduce you to my old friend.
Aren't libraries for reading?
Thank you.
Pancakes.
Shut up, don't be a nerd.
Nerd! Oh, wait, can I actually do that? I mean, I do live in the Chicagoland area, but I don't think the Nostalgia Critic knows I exist.
Not that you haven't tried with all those love letters. Dear Nostalgia Critic, I'm a huge fan of you and your work. You have entertained and inspired me for years. I would love it if I could do a video with you sometime. Maybe a crossover of some sort. And perhaps even be your friend. No, that's too strong. When will Senpai notice me?
Oh, like you guys haven't done worse.
No.
Moving on.
Sun's friend introduces himself as Neptune from Haven, and then immediately begins the hit on Weiss. My man! Blake then says that she's done for the day.
I'll see you guys later.
Women.
Nora, don't steal my jokes!
We then cut to Blake having an audio flashback of her fight with Roman in the last episode of Volume 1, followed by a regular flashback of her talk with Osmond after that fight, that of course we had no idea had transpired until now. Osmond explains that getting into his school isn't easy. Remember, this idiot cheated his way in, so don't be too proud, Ozzy, my boy. And that many spend years training at other combat schools to gain entry, but not Blake.
I was raised outside the kingdoms. If you can't fight, you can't survive.
Well, you have most certainly survived, Blake.
The wizard then explains that he's proud to allow students from all walks of life into his school.
Rich, poor, human, faunus.
I agree with Blake, dude. That was a dick move to pause just before the word faunus.
Osmond then asks Blake why she feels the need to hide who she is.
You may be willing to accept the faunus, Professor Ozpin, but your species is not.
True. But we are continuing to take strides to lessen the divide.
Until then, I'd rather avoid any unnecessary attention. I want people to see me for who I am, not what I am.
With that, Osmanius begins to question her about how she knew that the White Fang were going to be at the shipyard, to which Blake replies with the same bullshit answer that everybody makes, that she was just in the right place at the wrong time.
You wouldn't have been the first. But what happened tonight was not an isolated incident. Are you sure there is nothing else you would like to tell me?
I'm sure.
Very well. Thank you for your time, Ms. Belladonna. If you ever need to talk to me, please don't hesitate to ask.
Jeez, is it just me or is anybody else getting a serious Dumbledore vibe? The three other girls interrupt Blake's reminiscing as they return to the room. And like the stereotype that I've been cracking jokes about, this antisocial kitty cat begins to leave once again. But is stopped by Weiss of all people.
Lately you've been quiet, antisocial, and moody, which I get is kind of your thing, but you've been doing it more than usual. You made a promise to me, to all of us, that you would let us know if something was wrong. So, Blake Belladonna, what is wrong?
I'm with everyone else here. Do not do that again, Weiss. I know that you guys are trying to make yourselves out more like other animes so that you can get some sort of acceptance, but trust me, you do not want to be like other animes. Unless you guys decide to do a beach episode, then I support that 100%! Well, after that awkward moment, Blake explains that she doesn't understand everybody's lack of apprehension in spite of recent events with Torchwick and the White Fang. Yang tries to comfort her bae by telling her that Ozpin and the police have got it covered.
They don't know the White Fang like I do.
Okay, between blowing up nightclubs...
Didn't the events of the Yellow Trail happen before you guys became friends? I mean, I know Yang could have told you about it, but that really didn't have anything to do with what's happening now.
stopping thieves, and fighting for freedom, I'm sure the three of you think you're all ready to go out and apprehend these ne'er-do-wells. Who? But let me once again be the voice of reason.
Yes, voice of reason. Bitchy voice of reason, but yes, voice of reason.
We're students. We're not ready to handle this sort of situation. Well, yeah, but...
We're badasses.
We're not ready.
And we may never be ready. Our enemies aren't just gonna sit around and wait for graduation day. They're out there, somewhere, planning their next move, and none of us know what it is.
Yeah, not even the audience. But I've harped on that like an angel having a seizure.
Okay. All in favor of becoming the youngest hunter sis to single-handedly bring down a corrupt organization conspiring against the Kingdom of Hale?
Pause for a moment. Yes, I know, rousing speech and all. But what is right with this show and having moments like this. I mean, look at her! If this had been the first scene that I had seen of this show, I would have thought that she's a show's psychopath.
You guys were just desperate to add to the meme community, weren't you, Rooster Teeth?
Say I. Yes! I love it when you're feisty.
Bumblebee confirmed. God damn it, shut the hell up!
All right then. We're in this together.
Let's hatch a plan.
Cue comedic moment.
I left my board game in the library.
We're doomed.
That's so funny! Laugh, you assholes!
Ruby then rushes out the door only to bump into the dynamic duo.
I'm Ruby. Are you new?
Visiting from Haven, actually.
I'm not evil. You can trust me.
You know, it's often said that animals can sense evil. If that's true, then Blake right now should be going, I feel a disturbance in the force.
Can I make that joke without Disney suing?
Ooh, you're here for the festival. Oh, but exchange students have their own dormitory.
I guess we just got turned around.
Your building is just east of here.
Thanks. Maybe we'll see you around.
Welcome to Beacon.
And with that last look of internal maniacal laughter, the episode ends.
And well, it was like every other episode of RWBY. It was okay.
True, we got to view our characters in a more relaxed climate, seeing them do what normal students would do, and we got a bit more of an idea of whatever's happening must be big for the need of an army to be assembled. But once again, we have no idea what that is, and no idea how it's going to affect our girls. We know that they're going to be affected because, well, they're main characters, but also because of that one scene of Ruby bumping into Cinder. Granted, it was the cliche of the protagonist unknowingly meets the antagonist, and it does seem like a huge freaking coincidence that Ruby would run into Cinder, for the second time no less, and just at the same moment that she and her goons would arrive at Beacon. However, I will admit that it is a pretty decent way of showing us the connection between these two groups.
What wasn't interesting was the whole build-up between Ironwood and Ozpin.
Knew it wouldn't take you long before you started bitching about something.
I understand that we need to build up a bit more of this story, and it is nice to see a bit more of the plot. But it would be nicer if it was a bit clearer on why everything is happening.
Again, all we know is that Roman, Cinder, and the White Fang are stealing dust, but nothing else. Without any more context, it doesn't make any sense why a freaking army is needed in Vale. True, this could mean that whatever is happening is bigger than we thought, but with no baseline, it's hard to care about the villain's motives or agendas. Remember, this is the second season. We should have a much better idea of what the villains might be planning, and yet, sadly, we don't. So what should have been another step of anticipation turns into a stumble of mild confusion.
What was also confusing, at least for some viewers, was Blake's sudden change in personality.
Going from secluded and on the surface not very interested in the world or open with her teammates, to being overly obsessive with what Roman is up to did throw some for a loop. However, I think they just got hung up with the seemingly swift resolution of the last episode of Season 1.
Understandable. Anime fans aren't always the, intelligent kind.
It's completely reasonable why Blake would be concerned about the White Fang. Since she was once part of it, she clearly must have had friends there, and it can't be easy hearing of the new direction that the White Fang is taking. As for opening up to her teammates, that's kinda what the resolution was about. It's also funny that it's Weiss that causes her to open up, again, cementing what went down between them.
Oh yeah!
While this change is a bit sudden, especially considering the last episode, it's nice to see Blake being more open and willing to rely on her team. Not just because they're partners, but because they are friends.
That's all I can really say about this episode. I know, short video and all, but give me a break. It is still just the beginning of the season, and I really don't have much to work on just yet.
However, I will say that my interest in the show hasn't changed. There is still a lot of potential that can be utilized if the writers work things out in advance. And considering that the rumor is that Monty roughly planned things out up to Season 8, we can only hope that they execute it properly. One final note I'd like to make before I end this video, and it's concerning the little card game that the girls had.
Great, you want to shit on that even more?
Hey, I say things how they are, but I do give the benefit of the doubt, and I give it here.
It was actually pretty nice to see them not only getting along, but acting like normal kids. I'll have more to say about this later on, but for now, keep this in mind that they are supposed to be just young students, and those are the eyes that they see this world through.
So in conclusion, while this episode wasn't great, the show is still pretty good. But whether or not the third episode will turn out to be a turd episode,
for God's
we'll have to wait until next week to find out. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. With me, no movie's sacred, no video's safe, but all deserve a chance. I'll catch you guys next time. Toodles!
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba, but it does contain the unstoppable Exodia. Ah, impossible! Exodia! Obliterate!